So you think you're ready to set up shop and get started as a tarot reader for the general public, or an oracle reader for that matter. And you're saying 2024 is my year. I'm ready to take that leap of faith. I'm ready to start on the fool's journey as a card reader for the general public. Well, my love, if that's you, or even if you're a little curious about how to get started and what does it entail, this video is for you. I'm going to share with you some basic general ideas and advice and a little bit of my experience to help you to feel a little bit more prepared, and just to give you some behind the scenes and things to watch out for and to look out for, okay? So I'm basing this on my experience as someone who has 10 years, almost 11 years in the game of doing pop-ups, reading. I've only read at one metaphysical bookshop, but I'll tell you about that in just a minute. But my main thing was pop-ups, and from the pop-ups, it led to one-on-ones. And prior to the pandemic, I did one-on-ones in person, I did workshops, and then moved my one-on-ones all online. And so I started reading at pop-up events in late 2013, more 2014. And I think that, number one, it is one of the greatest experiences that you will have. Now, let me say this. It's not for everybody, but it's still going to be a great experience, because you're going to be able to say if you like it or you don't. You're going to have to give it a little bit of a go for some time to be able to really determine if it's your jam or not. So regardless of the outcome, if you continue doing pop-ups or reading at metaphysical shops, regardless, it's going to be an amazing, amazing experience. You're going to meet a wide array of people, and there's nothing like sitting at a table and you don't know who's going to come up. You don't know who's going to be sitting across from you. I mean, it's one thing to read for family and friends. It's one thing to read for yourself. It's one thing to be in tarot or an oracle communities and talk about tarot card meanings and reflect upon it. It's a whole nother thing when you're sitting at the table and someone's like, hey, I just booked half an hour with you. Here's my question. And you got to go for it, right? And there's nothing like it. It's something that's going to give you an opportunity to really dive deeper into your understanding of tarot, number one. It's going to support you and help you to have a deeper connection and relationship to the cards, and really put the meanings of cards into practical life situations, and be able to understand how the meanings all weave together. So there's nothing like it. It's going to also really support you to, number one, gain confidence, right? There's nothing like just doing it that you gain confidence. You're going to make mistakes, and that's life, and you learn and you grow and you evolve. You will also have it'll provide you also with the opportunity to really trust yourself, trust your intuition, and tune into your intuition, which I'm sure you already do. But it's a different kind of a story when you have someone looking at you and looking for the answers, right? Looking for you to talk about the cards that have been shuffled and laid out. And so it's really it's a totally different experience. And sometimes you're going to have that person who's there for the reading, and they might have people with them. So you have two people, you have people looking at you, and it's just something that you just got to do it, and you got to get that experience. And, it's a great experience. It's going to really teach you and support you on what I just mentioned. So that's the one thing I think about is absolutely a great experience. I think if you are interested and you're on the path that you want to make tarot readings a part of an income stream for you. And I say part of an income stream or one income stream because at first it may not be that it's your primary income stream. You'll have your job and this will maybe be a side hustle or a passion project. But if you're interested in building a business on having regular clientele, doing events and getting your name out there, this is one way to do so because you will become known. And if you're doing pop-up events, other people who are organizing pop-up events will know about you, and it just is a way to get connected and get your name out there. So that's another thing that I like to tell people about. Now, with pop-up events, once again, they're not for everybody, because a lot of times with pop-up events, it can be very busy. I've had pop-up events that I went to, and they've been really slow, even though I've been pretty busy, because it tends to be, you get quite a bit of traffic. Even if there's not, I would say this, even if it's not like super, super busy, you're still going to have a steady amount of people coming in. It has to be super slow to not really have anyone come sit at your table. But at pop-up events, you have to find a way. This is another thing too, because sometimes there's music in the background and there's people all around, and you're going to have people walking by and trying to look in, and like that kind of thing, like what's going on. And so it really teaches you as well to have this like laser focus and be able to tune everything out while you're focused on the person that's sitting right in front of you or on the side of you. And that might not be for you, right, as you go down the road and get that experience. But I definitely think it's worth getting an experience, most definitely. And so the ways to go about it is you start looking for the different pop-ups in your area, and they'll have a call for vendors, and you apply as a vendor. Now, not every pop-up is going to want a tarot, oracle, healer, oracle reader or healer at their events, but most places do. I started doing this, the pop-ups. There wasn't many pop-ups when I started to do this. And actually, I wasn't set out to do tarot readings at pop-up. I wasn't even set out my intention wasn't even to set out to be a reader. I'd always been madly in love with tarot since a child, and my mama and my grandma, my aunties always used to go to get readings, and I remember going to, when they get the readings, I would be able to go in when they had the readings, but I got to sit on the couch of the reader's house where we'd go to. And then when I was over, like, I think it was, I don't know, maybe like 20, I got my first tarot reading, and I was get readings regularly. So I've always loved tarot. What happened is how I got it set up is I had a body care line, and it was really about intentionality and ritual. And so in order to get people over to my booth, I would say, and to buy, I would say if you spend X amount of dollars, you get like a 3-card tarot pull. And I used to have my mom there and have her pull the tarot. And then people wanted to talk more with my mom about the body care products, so then I was doing the tarot. It's really interesting. So, and I ended up falling madly in love with it. Madly in love with it. So that's and I'm going to give some advice about doing pop-ups in just a minute. I'm going to move now over to the metaphysical shops. I've only read in one metaphysical shop. So pop-ups, you apply as a vendor, and a lot of times the vendor fees are like $30 or $50. Now, if it's a big time kind of show or something like that, it can be higher. But the community events, I say go for the community events. Start at there's like witches markets, and there's all these different things. Start at the smaller like community events and get your feet wet there. Get an idea of like what it is that you want your booth or your table to look like, and find the ways in which you're going to accept payments. Or is it going to be cash? Are you going to do Venmo or Cash App? Like, get those sort of details all set up. Now, with some markets, you might be able to, even if it's like $50, and right now $50 is a steep thing for you, you might be able to work it out that you can pay them from your readings that you get, or you can volunteer to help with cleanup. That maybe reduce the cost of the vendor fee. So with metaphysical shops, from my experience, I've only read in one, like I said, is that you either stop in, or you could email the owners or managers of the shop. Now, when I went to apply to be a reader at this shop, I live in a small town. I first emailed the owner. I introduced myself. I gave the reference to my website. I had a website. So if you don't have a website, your social media presence, somehow some sort of social proof that like you're real, and where they can get a feel for your style. It's not necessary. I mean, it's not absolutely necessary, but this day and age, if you're thinking about this is something you want to do, I think it's a good, even if you have one like a landing page that you can just set up something really, really quick, like in Squarespace, or I don't know what you could do. Well, Shopify is more like e-commerce, but you could set up like a spot there. But I think Squarespace it seems a good one. You might even do a Bluehost with like WordPress, like a one sheet, just like this is who you are, and maybe have a couple like a picture or two of yourself, and just explain your practice, like how you engage in tarot or oracles. cards or oracle healing, whatever, however you identify it. So be prepared that you reach out to them. What will happen from my experience, and this could vary from different places, but and I've talked to other people, and this is how a couple other folks, and they had a similar experience of how it went down for them. The interview, quote unquote interview, is when they went in, they talked, once it was set up. Like I reached out through email, and then she told me to come in at a particular day. And so I did. And when I went in, she asked me for a mini reading. She didn't want the whole shebang, like a whole half hour or hour, but she wanted a mini reading. And when I went in there, I was prepared. I had my tarot an oracle card bag. I set my table up like as if I was reading there for the day. Now, I didn't bring in all of the things that I usually set up on my table, but I for sure had a tablecloth, and I had a couple other things. Now, the owner of the shop said that she really appreciated that. She could tell I was professional, and that really supported like her deciding to invite me in as a reader, as well as the reading that I did for her. So be prepared that they will ask you questions about your relationship with tarot and oracle, or the practice that you're doing, and most likely ask you to do a mini reading for them. So be prepared. Bring in your stuff, and just know that you got this. You got this. You got this. Trust in yourself. Trust in the knowledge that you have. And if perchance like that shop doesn't work out, don't let it deter you, because there'll be other shops. So I want to say that to you. A lot of times, like the splits are about 80-20 or 90-10. And that was a similar split. I used to be a personal trainer and group fitness instructor, and a lot of the gyms, it was like, I think the gyms were like 70-30, and the shop was like, it was 80-20 where I was paid. A lot of times they're going to pay you in cash, and however you handle that is your business. I'm not going to give you advice on how to handle the cash you get from there. So those are the things as far as getting started, getting your foot in the door. Now, I want to tell you something as far as in reading with shops, and I think also doing your pop-ups. I think it's really good. Most places and pop-ups, they'll have like a code of conduct and what they expect from you, but it's a little bit different with shops, right? Because sometimes there may be a room off to the side that you'll be reading in. I think it's really important once you accept the position that you'll be a reader there. Number one, like just asking, like, what is the pay differential? What is the cut? A lot of times they'll have the standard. Like at the place I worked, it was like $40 for a half hour and $80 for an hour across the board, regardless of the reader. I got 80% of it, and the owner got 20% of it. So the thing is, it's really important to ask the owner these questions. Number one, what are the expectations of you? And also ask the owner, like, what are safety protocols? When can you expect payment? Are you getting paid that exact same day? Are they paying you once a week, every 2 weeks? It should be that same day, because they're receiving the payment for the reading that you provided. So, but I would ask and be very, very... Okay, my video totally got cut off. So expectations, just really go over expectations and make sure you know when you're going to get paid and how you're going to get paid. The thing is, it's really important to know what they expect of you, because, for example, when I was working at this shop, I was so excited because we live in a tourist town, so there's so many different people that come in, and I was also excited to be able to like pop out, to run to the coffee shop and come back in between clients. And she was like, you cannot. Even if I didn't have clients, she did not want me to leave the building. Now, I wasn't going 3 blocks away. There was a coffee shop next door. So I didn't have like the liberty of like going out there. She was like threw a fit, and she was very, very rude. I would have never, if I was in a different circumstance or situation, I would have walked out that same day. But I'm in this small town. I'm new to this small town. I wanted to be able to get and to meet different people. Not only locals, but people that are traveling from all over the world to be here. And I felt like it was an opportunity for me to get my name out there and really support my business and build my business. So it's really good. Yeah, because I was like, there's nobody here. There'd be a lot of slow days. Like at first she gave me a lot of busy days, and then just out of nowhere, I don't know, she just didn't, I didn't vibe with her. We did not vibe. She then gave me like cockamamie days. And so when it was slow, she was like, no, you need to stay right here. And so, think about that. Really, like, what are the expectations? Does it flow with you? And then if it doesn't flow with you, like, what are you getting out of it? Like I said, I stood because I stood for like almost 5 months because I just needed the connections. And then I was like, I started to dread going into there. So then I'm like, oh no, this is not good. So I left. But it's really important. And then also another thing that I think is important as well is ask the owners. Like if you, after the clients that you meet with, like if you promote, like if their clients, let's say you have a client and then you tell them about the different things to buy and then they go into the store afterwards shopping and they end up dropping like $100, like ask if you get a commission of the sales from the people you read for. Because so many times people were asking me about X, Y, and Z and rituals, and I would go down the stairs and I would point them to the products. And that was like sales. I get them crystal, I tell them to buy certain crystals. And so I approached the owner and the owner was like, no, you're just getting paid. You don't have to then. And I would tell her like, but wait, I'm supporting your business and getting, sales for you. And she's like, you don't have to do that then. So and then I still would tell them, here's some things. I just wouldn't walk them down and walk them through it because I was like, forget about it. I still gave them the information, my clients, because I wanted them to have that for them in their healing journey. So those are things to clear out. And then also the other thing is really important in reading in a shop, I'm going to tell you right now, is to find out how you'll be notified about their client list. So let's say you're working on a Saturday and maybe one person calls ahead of time to book with you. Let's say you're working like 10 to 3. They call to book with you at 12. So you have the reading at 12. It's 12. Let's say it's a half-hour reading to 12:30. And I found in the shop, there was a lot of half-hour readings. When I get personal one-on-one readings, they're all like hour readings. So the shop was like half-hour readings, was like by far the most prevalent, the ones that I had. And so the thing is, find out, how are you going to know that you have the next client coming in? So for example, I would come in and let's say I'd have one person book because they heard about me and they wanted, or they're in town and they wanted to get a reading. I'd have someone booked and I wouldn't know if I had someone right after that. And so it would be problematic because let's say we really vibed, I've closed up, they had their half hour, but I start chatting with them a little bit more and I'm stretching and I'm doing an energy cleanse and I have someone waiting for me. But then I've already taken so the client I was seeing leaves and I'm still in the room. I don't know someone's out there waiting and I'm taking time to cleanse. I don't think anyone's out there and I'm stretching and here someone's out there waiting and they're already like 10, 15 minutes behind because I didn't know. Like there was no clear instruction for them to tell them come in the room, or I didn't know that like someone was out there waiting for me. Do you feel me? So find out a way, like when you're actually reading in the day, like how will you know if more people are booking? Because one time that happened to me, like people kept on booking throughout the day and I had no idea. So I started running late and then the owner was like mad at me, and part of it, I own it. Like I didn't ask her these clear expectations. So I'm telling you. So that's another really huge, big thing. The other thing is too, if you're reading in a place and she required that I close the door because that was the one way that she knew I was in a reading. However, I had a couple different circumstances or situations where I didn't feel comfortable having the door closed and I wanted the door open. So ask the owner and manager of the shop, like what happens if I feel uncomfortable or unsafe? I want to leave the door open, or if it's something I can say I booked, like how is that? How are they going to support you in your safety and feeling safe? So that's really, really, really important. And if any point in time it doesn't feel right, just know that there are other metaphysical shops or there are other ways that you can read. Like it's not really kind of worth it. So I know I should have took my own advice, but I just stuck it out. And then when I was like, I'm not doing this anymore, I just was like, I'm not doing it anymore, because you have to believe that there's abundance of opportunities and your time and the perfect opportunity will come to you. So that's the other big piece that I wanted to share. Now, one more quick thing before I end this video. It's super duper important for you to have a practice, because you're going to be like bombarded with so much different energy and you're going to be a lot of energetic output. It's really important for you to find ways in which you have protection, whether it be a necklace, whether it's be a ritual or some oils that you put on that you protect your energy and that you cleanse your energy both before and after, as well as cleansing your deck. So you'll be able to move and groove with that and decide what rituals and what ways of cleansing really, really work. So make sure you have that, because it's very, very important to cleanse out the energies and cleanse out yourself and have ways of protection. So that was some of my advice, experiences, and tips for you in doing pop-ups and also reading in metaphysical shops. I hope this was some of service to you in some way, shape, or form. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments, or you can head over to my website at www.cafecitoandtarot.com, and I will be more than happy to address them. So thanks for tuning in. Mad love to you. Be well. Bye, and good luck. Really good luck. I think it's I'm so happy for you, and I wish you all the success. Peace.